what you see with Mama Mila isn't just, a persona. It is her.
Yeah.
Like, it is Chantel.
Yeah.
And so, like, living with her for so long, I've kind of just adapted. I've seen the level of cleanliness that you can achieve, and I do whatever I can to try and maintain that for not just for her, but just for us and the kids as well.
Hello and welcome to Separate Bathrooms. We would like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of this land, and pay our respects to elders both past and present. Hi, Elle-Daddo.
Hi, Cam Dad.
How are you?
I'm really good.
You excited about today?
I am. This lady I've just discovered, the world has discovered her much earlier than me, but I've just discovered her in the last few days, and I'm really excited to talk to her.
Yeah, Melbourne-based Chantel Mila, also known as Mama Mila, started posting recipes and simple home hacks in 2018. Now has a reach of over 2 million people across a plethora of platforms.
So she's known for her hashtag Mama Mila tip series, and she's created really innovative and simple and well-designed content for all of her loyal and engaged followers.
She's written a new book. It's called The Dream Clean, budget-friendly, eco-friendly ways to make your home beautiful. Coming out tomorrow. It arrives in bookshops. That would be September 5. So, yes, you'll be able to zip out to wherever you get your books from and get The Dream Clean.
Mm-hmm. She's married to Rob. We're going to find out a little bit more about him. And they have 2, as she says, cheeky kids together.
Let's meet them now. Chantel and Rob. Welcome, Chantel and Rob, to the bathroom.
Hi, thanks for having us.
It's a very, very clean bathroom, Chantel. We've taken a lot of your tips and we haven't done that at all.
We haven't done that at all.
But I'm going to use all of Chantel's tips to redo our entire home.
Yeah, we've just been using a lot of vinegar and baking soda.
Well, that's the staples, isn't it?
Yeah,
It sure is. Like vinegar, baking soda,
And
and
lemon juice.
Lemon.
It
Lemon.
does everything.
It does
awesome.
everything.
It's amazing.
Well, Rob, we're popping your podcast cherry today. This is your first time in a podcast, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
All right.
Very excited.
Great to hear. We'll go easy on you. We go easy on everyone, mate. This is the slackest podcast ever. But we know what Chantel does. Can you just let us into a bit of your life?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I'm in digital marketing. So I've been in the industry for, 12 odd years now. Started off in TV, which was pretty exciting.
In what capacity? What capacity in TV?
In the back end. I was in the background. So this was when Chantel and I moved to Canberra. It was pretty impromptu, and I got a job working for the local TV station there, just doing a lot of the back end material production type stuff.
Right.
Trafficking.
Okay.
Trafficking. Not drugs.
No,
That's good. And also when
that's it. Commercials.
Cleaning products.
And when you said in the background, I was like an extra for Neighbours. Like that's cool.
Oh, did you meet Jason and Kylie?
All right.
No, it was good.
As you two may or may not know, this is a relationship podcast, so we do love getting the goss on the two of you and how you met and how the relationship is currently and all the good things. So, can you tell us a little bit about how the two of you did actually meet?
So we actually met back in high school. I was about 16 years old and Robbie, you were about 17 years old at the time. And a friend of mine said, like, hey, this weekend, do you want to go to a gig, like a local Battle of the Bands? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we all went as a group. I went to an all-girls school, so it was a group of girls that all went to this gig. And then my friend said, like, oh, there's this guy that I've met. I actually met him on MySpace. Back when MySpace was a thing.
Wow. Yeah. When was that a thing?
I know. We're going prehistoric.
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
It was like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So she'd met him on MySpace, and so we met up with these guys, and Robbie was that guy's best friend. So then we kind of met through our best friends.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and then I think after that, I slid into MSNs back in the day. They didn't have DMs at the time, so I slid into our MSNs. We got talking. And yeah, I think we met through friends, and then after a while, it was just meeting up individually by ourselves. And yeah, I took her to the cinemas for our first date, and we didn't really get much of the movie, but it was it was good. Yeah, it wasn't that good of a movie apparently.
Wow! So
It was the Meg.
You've been high school lovers and together since then. That's so beautiful.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always strange to think about like how long it's been, because I don't think it doesn't feel like that long.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
And did this happen in Melbourne?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, in Melbourne.
Right.
So we met in Melbourne. Both of us are from Melbourne. We met in Melbourne, and then kind of after uni, I got a job in Canberra. So then we moved to Canberra for about a year or two, and now back in Melbourne when we started our family.
Rob, what's that been like watching Chantel like rise to these incredible heights with her TikToks and Instagram and now a book?
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, I'm not really surprised. Like, Chantel's always been she did everything just the right way. She was a massive overachiever in that, like, high school,
Right.
top grades,
Really?
university, top grades, work. She was just incredible at her job prior to all of this as well. And, it's one of those things you just know that when you meet someone, they're destined for great things. And that was kind of like the feel in the sense that, I always got from Chantel. And then when she started this, I wasn't surprised that it took off the way that it did. And I think a sense of pride is probably the best emotion to describe it.
Oh, that's so nice, Rob. Thank you.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
And so I understand that COVID was rough for a lot of different people, a lot of us.
Yeah.
But for you, something quite incredible happened, Chantel?
Yeah. So during COVID, we were both working full-time at home. Obviously, we went into lockdown. Both of our kids were under 3 years old at the time. Ooh. So Mila was 3, Aston was under 1. So it was a hectic time. We were both trying to work from home. Our house isn't that big. We live in a townhouse, and we were both trying to work from home. We had both our 2 young kids at home, and our house was just hectic. It was cluttered. It was messy. It was a daycare. It was a cinema. It was where Frozen played non-stop on the TV. If I heard the word, like, let it go, it still triggers me. Like, I cannot listen to that song anymore. And so what I started sharing on social media and TikTok at the time was these little 5-minute things that I was doing to create little pockets of peace in the house, to make, little pockets of just beautiful spaces around the home that, only took like 5 minutes to do. So things like how to soften your linen so that you get a more restful night's sleep, or how to roll your towels to make your bathroom feel a bit more spa-like. And I was doing these things because for our own, sanity, because it was such a cluttered space. And at the end of the day, it was a space that we also needed to relax in. So I was sharing then to an audience of 14 people, and it was just honestly what I was doing around the house. And then it kind of just grew from there and just grew into the amazing community we have now.
Into a juggernaut, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
There's something, I've been scrolling through your Instagram, and I could feel it within myself. There is something about watching something dirty get clean, or disorganized get organized, that's really soothing. Why do you think that is?
I've always said this though. I wonder how many people who follow actually follow for the tips and tricks. I'm sure there'd be a large percentage. And then there'd be a percentage, I think, that follow for that cathartic, very satisfying content of transformations. Robbie and I did a video recently about organising our garage, and it was actually my parents' garage, and it was just this messy space that we reorganised and made it all very neat and satisfying, and people loved it. But are people really going to reorganise their garage? I don't know. But it's satisfying, entertaining content.
It's the ultimate makeover, and the before and after. With anything, it's why, there is renovation TV shows and stuff like that do so well, and everything like that. It's just you see the before, you see the work that goes into it, and then you see the output. And when, like what Chantel does, her whole angle is it's actually not that hard. Anyone can do it. And you don't even need like chemicals or anything. It's just whatever you've got around the house, very common household items, and to get that before and after. And I think that's what's so just aesthetically pleasing about it.
Yeah, that's a good word, aesthetically pleasing. Were you doing the videoing of it, Rob? Was that your part in it, or?
He does a lot behind the camera.
Yeah, I do a little bit of the
career.
videoing. Chantel is probably the whiz with the camera. I think I'm in the background with more of the keeping the kids under control.
Keep the kids out of the way. Get out of sight.
That's it. The kids, they love it. So they absolutely love it when Chantel's filming and we've got all like, the cameras and the lighting and everything like that. They really enjoy it. And so, but they get a little bit too excited sometimes. So just keeping the kids under control, keeping the house under control. I help with a lot of the planning and the idea generation and that side of things, but still very much in the background. I come into videos every once in a while. I think we filmed one this morning with me in it, but yeah, I'm very much in the background.
And I have to ask, because if the house was not great, I know you got 2 little kids, but Rob, how were your home cleanliness habits before this all took over? Were you one of the catalysts because you left the seat down?
You gave me great content.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I get great content with trying to get food stains out of clothes. So she's got endless amount of content for that. But house-wise, like Chantel and I have lived together since I think 2010 or 2011, like a long time.
Yeah.
She's such a clean person. Like what you see with Mama Mila isn't just, a persona. It is her.
Yeah.
Like it is Chantel.
Yeah.
And so like living with her for so long, I've kind of just adapted. I've brought in a lot of that skills. I've seen the level of cleanliness that you can achieve, and I do whatever I can to try and maintain that for not just for her, but just for us and the kids as well. Especially with dust, I didn't realize how bad of an allergy I had to dust, and also our children actually, until I started cleaning it, and that's it. Wow. I'm like, wow, I can breathe again.
So could you piss each other off by leaving a shoe somewhere, out there and just leave it there and ignore it and wait for the other one to pick it up? Go, why you leave the shoe there?
That's it. 100%.
You pick up after yourself.
And I always wonder too, I don't know if you do this, Rob, but sometimes when I hear the car pull up in the driveway and it's Cam, I immediately go, crap, the kitchen's a mess. Shove, under the couch, in the closet, and relax. I've cleaned it way early.
Yeah.
Do you ever do that?
Speed clean.
Yeah, it's a lot like me in the mornings, actually. Just making sure we do a bit of a clean up, before we go to bed, like the after dinner clean, and then before you go to bed. And sometimes, when we're a bit tired and I'm a little bit slack before bed, I'll do that mad rush before she wakes up in the morning. Just quickly clean the kitchen, get everything sprayed and spotless. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but make no mistake, our house is not always clean. We do have 2 kids who are still, they're not under 3 anymore, but they're still very young. They're now under 7. And, you find surprises all over the house. I put on my shoe this morning and my son had, left his, there was literally spaghetti inside my boot because he had just decided that he wanted to put spaghetti in my shoes. So make no mistake, our house isn't always clean. It is definitely lived in.
They are very good at making messes, children.
So are husbands.
So are husbands, yeah, so are wives. I can too. I've been guilty of it as well. We've actually got our beautiful eldest daughter is just home with us for a couple of days before she leaves to go away, and already she's a real creative, and already she always leaves pockets of things everywhere, like an art project here and then her cups of tea there, and it's we're oh yeah, she's home. She's home.
Yeah, but for 2 days, and it's she's about to head off overseas.
Yeah, so we're not saying anything.
No, and it's I'm not going to say a word. I'm not going to have the last of this be Dad going, would you please pick up those clothes that you're going to chuck out anyway?
I know.
It's not going to happen.
Were you a super clean kid?
Yes. Every child is messy.
Yeah.
But I was always that kid who, I think I've always liked the transformation, the before and after, because I was the kid who would always rearrange my bedroom every week and then be like, Mum, have a look, new room, new me. My desk's here now. It's a whole new Chantel. So I was always that kid. And so I think it's just something that's kind of grown and developed. But what I started my DIYs, I actually started that because our daughter, Mila, she was diagnosed with asthma, and that's what made me do the shift over to, cutting out chemicals or harsh chemicals in our home, switching to vinegar and baking soda and lemons and essential oils and those really eco-friendly things. It was all kind of stemmed from Mila and that switch that we made for her.
That's amazing. And what a benefit it's been for not only Mila, but you and then everyone else that gets to benefit from all the incredible tips that you're giving to the planet. And what you've created as well. You've created laundry detergent, stain remover, and what else have you got?
That's it. Yeah, so I created like the spray bottles that come, that you can make the DIY sprays in. And then, we just launched a laundry range of like all natural, eco-friendly laundry powders and, stain removers as well.
I need that.
Is this a full-time gig for you now, for you both?
It is.
This is your business now?
For me, it is.
Yeah.
So I shifted to full-time content creation actually quite quickly, about 6 months into starting my TikTok. I realised, I can actually do this full-time. But Rob still works full-time.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Still in the same job.
Yeah.
Is there any stain that freaks you out?
Yes, definitely. It's red wine. As soon as like red wine stains, if you move fast, they're fine. If you don't move fast, that's a set stain.
Is coffee the same?
Coffee's not too bad. Coffee you can get rid of.
So, okay, then I'm just thinking, because I like to play golf and I like to have a coffee, and always down the first hole when I got my coffee, I spill coffee down my shirt. And I might as well chuck it away because I've never been able to get a coffee stain out of my golf shirts or a sweater. Ali's good at getting stains out. But what do you do for the red wine then? Because I will go to sleep with the red wine on my chest every now and again.
That's because you've fallen asleep with the glass in your hand.
Well, that's right.
And you jolt yourself awake.
That was implied.
Right.
You don't need to
sorry. Too much
paint the picture too much. Okay, I'm just a horrible nighttime drinker. And I spill a lot of red wine. How do you get a red wine stain out if it's longer than 2 days?
You can't. She's saying.
It's a toughie.
Yeah.
It's a toughie. There are two things that work really well for red wine. One is, it sounds bizarre, but it's shaving cream. If you put shaving cream on a red wine stain, I don't know, it creates this like reaction and actually makes the red wine turn blue, and then the stain removes so easily. So shaving cream, incredible. Another one is... You'll like this one, Cam. White wine gets rid of red wine. So you can actually put white wine on a red wine stain.
Yeah.
And that helps lift it.
Wow.
Chantel, I'm absolutely boggled by how many things you know about how to make things clean or crisp, or I mean just like it's wild. How did you find out about these things? Like the one that got me was put a marshmallow in brown sugar to prevent it hardening. Like how did you know to do that?
So a lot of my tips and tricks have come from my family. So,
really?
My grandmother, my mum, it's just little things that we learnt as we were growing up. And what I love is when I read the comments and people say like, oh my gosh, my grandmother used to do this and I totally forgot about it, because it is things that have been passed down from so many generations. And, even with my audience, they remember certain things that their grandparents told them, which are similar. And then most of my DIYs were things that I practiced after Mila, was diagnosed with asthma. It was when we decided to make that shift and cut out a lot of like plastics and chemicals in our home. I just started playing around with different DIYs and saw what worked.
Right.
So a bit of a mix.
You both seem really busy with what you're doing. Obviously, we know just to create Instagram content, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Rob, you've got your gig. Plus, you've got two little kids to look after with their needs. How do you guys balance the work-home life?
It can be tricky.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
hard.
think,
Yeah. I think that for anyone, even outside of people who do what Shan does, it's incredibly difficult to balance that work-life kind of balance, particularly when you have, a family and kids and stuff like that. And especially at our age, like with our kids' ages too, like, starting school and kinder, all that kind of stuff, it becomes quite a lot of work. I think communication for us has always just been a really big one. So being able to make sure that we know what's coming up. We have a shared calendar with all of our, with everything that's going on in our lives and our kids' lives as well, where we kind of just will always dip into making sure that we're across what's coming up for each other, and just making sure we know where to be, who's doing what, and just communicating. I think that's probably the only thing that you can do in those instances to try and balance it as best as you can.
The shared calendar, I don't know what I would do without our shared calendar. We live off that calendar. So we created an email address and then that was a family email address, and then we synced our phones to that email address. So now if we put anything in the calendar on one person's phone, it automatically appears on the other person's phone. It's a game changer for us.
Wow.
Someone else was talking about that too, and I remember saying to you, we should do that. But you're a paper. You like to write on paper.
I'd like to have a diary, but we also have a blackboard up on the a literal chalkboard. It's not even a whiteboard. We're back in 1972, But it's
actually a homemade blackboard.
Yeah, it's a homemade one. I really like it.
That's amazing.
I made it and I painted it up with a blackboard paint. It's very messy. You'd hate it because there's chalk dust underneath it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a pain in the
Whatever
thumb.
works.
It does work.
It's really about keeping that communication. So if that works, then that's what's best.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
How do you, with that and through communication, this is probably the answer in the question, but how do you resolve, cleaning discrepancies and I want to clean it this way and I want to clean it that way, or I want to leave that messy? How do you resolve your differences?
I reckon the biggest fight we always have, it's not even a fight, the biggest disagreement we always have is when Robbie's cooking, because he does all the cooking. I'm not much of a chef. So he does all the cooking and I'm putting things away and he's like, but I was using that. I haven't finished with that. Don't wash that yet. He got really angry at me for washing his pan a certain way and he was like, no, I need to wash my pans a certain way. I need to wash my pans. So now we know. We know.
I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than having a really well-seasoned pan that you just cook on it. It's just no stick. It's perfect.
You're absolutely right. I know that because we've talked about that too. You can't use harsh chemicals on your pans, and you've got to sort of season ours with olive oil sometimes, don't you?
Well, I do. And it's really hard to get the olive oil stain out of my pants too.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, dad joke. Sorry.
Pans.
Pans. You're talking about cooking. I think you're talking about pants.
Yeah. No, we're going to be able to do the olive oil stains now because we're following Chantel.
Oh, just a quickie then. What about olive oil stains? I can't get olive oil These Dacks I'm wearing right now, they've had olive oil stains since I've got them from my first meal with them.
Okay, do you know what? Olive oil stains is a great one because you can actually get rid of really old oil stains as well. So even those ones that have gone through the wash, gone through the dryer, you think they're set in there, they're not set in there. You can actually get those out. So a little trick for olive oil stains, because it's the top question I get asked, is dishwashing liquid. So cover the stain in dishwashing liquid, and that helps kind of break down the grease. Then sprinkle it with baking soda, and it turns into a bit of a paste. So, brush that paste in, leave it on for about 10 to 15 minutes, pop it in the wash, and it disappears. Done. Olive oil stains go. Even the old ones.
Wow. Do people stop you in the supermarket and say, oh, you're the clean girl. You're Chantel. Do they stop you and ask you for tips? I would if I saw you.
Well, you just did.
Oh, I know. Well, not in Coles.
Coffee, red wine and olive oil. You're up to 3. You're past your quota, honey.
I think that's probably been one of the biggest shifts that we've had as a family since starting the page is, I don't know if you felt it, Rob, but when we do get stopped. Yeah. That's been quite a big change.
How are you handling that?
I think okay.
Yeah. I mean, her audience is quite good in that they're just very real people. They respect her privacy, our privacy quite a lot. She doesn't get a lot of people running up to her and kind of fangirling. A lot of people will actually see her, they might wave and smile, but then she'll get a DM, 5 minutes later, be like, oh, I saw you at this place. It was so amazing to see you. I didn't say hi. I want to respect your privacy. They were actually very good.
Yeah, I've had a few DMs that said, I saw you were with your children, and so I didn't want to come up and say hi. So people are actually very respectful, which is, it's always lovely.
That's really nice. That's really nice. I love hearing that. I actually saw something also on your Instagram that I believe, Rob, you love. It's the little olive oil with the herbs already. Is it frozen into that thing?
It is, yeah. So that's one of my, probably the one that I use the most out of Shan's hacks, apart from getting oil out of things, which I learned the hard way. But so freezing, so because we go through a lot of rosemary and herbs and stuff, especially with cooking. We have access to a lot of rosemary. Chantel's parents have a rosemary bush, so we'll kind of get it in bulk. And if we find that it's drying out too quickly and we're not using it fast enough, we'll chop it up and put it into some olive oil and then freeze it. And when you're cooking, you just place the frozen olive oil and rosemary tabs into your hot pan and just melts away perfectly. And it creates an amazing flavor as well. It's a win-win.
Isn't that great?
Do you ever throw? I'm thinking. I'm mixing two of your theories together, Chantel. the ice cube into the dryer to get the wrinkles away. Do you ever throw a sprig of rosemary or lavender in there to give it a little scenting?
No, I haven't.
We'll have to try that.
There you go. All sorts of content ideas coming out. Thank you.
Well, they do lavender pillows, don't they?
Well, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Lavender's awesome. What do you two do for fun?
Usually it's... So when I started the page, I felt it really difficult to find that balance with putting your phone down.
Yeah.
And so now what we try and do is every Sunday we have a family day, phones down, no recording, nothing like that. Like not even Insta stories, just phone down. And usually that's spent with our kids. I would say that's what we do for fun. Go down to the beach. Yeah.
Especially now that they're back in school and their days are actually quite busy. It's kind of nice just to use our weekends to spend that time with them, and we'll often fill it with activities and things to do with family.
Yeah.
We used to call that screen-free Sunday.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it didn't last very long. Our kids were right. Though, actually, you know what? It wasn't just them. It was me too. You do need to make a conscious effort. Yeah, especially when the football's on. You just want to know what the score is.
That's it.
No, I was going to say, as the kids get older, I'm sure it's not going to be as practical because they'll have their own screens and want to do their own thing. But while they're young, we'll, do our screen-free Sunday.
I wonder if they'll become little influencers because they've seen Mama do so well.
It's possible. Yeah. Yeah, our daughter said she wants to. Mila said she wants to.
This is how I change my books around in my room. So cute.
Tell us about Mama Mila Home.
Yeah, so Mama Mila Home kind of came from, all my content comes from my audience, and Mama Mila Home's no different. So a lot of the questions I was getting were stain removal, like we were just talking about, all sorts of different stain removal, but really difficult things like sunscreen, or my daughter goes to kinder and, she comes home with paint and carrot and all these really, tricky stains to remove. And I'm always looking for different kind of eco-friendly ways to tackle those stains. And I wanted to make it as easy as possible for my audience as well, because now, we're not in COVID anymore. We've all got our own lives. We've got different things that we want to do. You don't want to spend all day at home cleaning or removing stains. So I created this range of eco-friendly, all-natural, made in Melbourne, laundry powders and detergents to kind of help people save time during their week.
Was it, did somebody approach you about doing that, or was that something that you already knew you wanted to do because of Mila and knowing that you wanted to do eco-friendly and natural?
Yeah, a bit of both. Yeah. So I always had the idea that I wanted to create something like that. And then another brand called Resparkle approached me with the opportunity to do it, and they were based in Melbourne, and that was a big part of what I wanted to do, was something close by and local, made in Australia, and it was just a really great partnership.
And bouncing off of that, you've got your book that is launching tomorrow.
So exciting.
The Dream Clean. Tell us about that.
So the Dream Clean was, again, it's the DMs that I get. So people were saying, your tips and your tricks are fabulous. We love them. We want to use them. But if I wanted to spend 15 minutes cleaning my bathroom what do I do? What's the checklist? What's the routine? Or, you know, I've got Sunday free and I want to clean my house. What do I do? How do I do it? And so that's why I created the Dream Clean. So the Dream Clean is all my tips and tricks organised in a really thoughtful way. So it's room by room, and then inside that it's by cleaning level. So if you've got 15 minutes to clean, if you've got half a day to clean, or if it's like New Year's Day or New Year's Eve and you just want to get your whole place spotless before, you know, the new year, and you're doing that cathartic clean, there's options for that as well.
Oh, that's good.
Did you help out with the book, Rob?
Little bit. I give her a lot of content of, you know, stain removal, that kind of stuff. No, I think the book was mainly Chantel. Like she knew exactly what needed to be in the book. I think I helped a little bit with maybe like the structure and some of the catchy names, but outside of that, it was really all Chantel.
Yeah.
Actually, you came up with the name of the book.
Yeah.
The Dream Clean was from Rob.
So I love it. It's a team effort. You guys are a dream team.
It is.
Name for the Dream Clean.
The Dream Clean team. The Clean Dream team. I know you are cleaning experts. Rob, de facto cleaning expert by relationship.
Correct.
Yeah. We are in the bathroom. We do a 2-minute shower. We keep our answers short because we're conserving water. But we both want you to answer the question. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your best quality?
You go.
Helpful?
Yeah. I'd say mine's loyal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
What is your partner's basic philosophy in life?
Be kind to everyone. You're always kind to everyone, Rob.
Thank you. I'd probably say yours is, compassion, empathy.
What do you miss when you're not together?
The friendship, I think. I think being together for so long, Robbie and I, we've really grown up together. So as well as being parents and being in a relationship with one another, there's a huge element of friendship in our relationship. So, yeah, I think, you know, when I'm travelling for work or anything like that, I think that's what I miss most is that friendship and, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it's very similar. It's like the offline moments, the moments where there's nothing to do, nothing to really talk about. You're just offline with each other.
Yeah. Where do you see yourselves in 5 years?
I think doing something pretty similar to what I'm doing. So even though, you know, we've started this, about 3 years ago now with Mum and Mila, but I still feel like it's the beginning. I think there's a lot more growth that can be done with, you know, the page and the channel. And Robbie, like we mentioned, Robbie loves to cook. I think that that's probably something that we can bring onto the channel more and, you know, get Robbie onto the page a bit more. Yeah,
I think that's pretty much the same answer for me. I think, being a little bit more involved in the page in the front end, I think it's something that we've spoken about for a long time. I think it's just, it's getting to that time.
And I'll keep the shower going for a little bit because, Rob, I was meant to ask you that before with your cooking. Was that always a passion for you, or is it just something that's evolved through the marriage and with kids?
I think food in general is my passion. Like, it's probably one of my biggest, food and music. I think that, it's one of the things that I live to eat. I don't eat to live. So I really enjoy food, and I think cooking is just one of those ways that I can share that with other people.
Yeah, nice.
Beautiful. All right, final question. Describe each other in one word.
Loyal. Going back to your loyal.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something different to the first one. I'd probably say for you, caring. Clean.
Perfect.
You have to put that in there.
Clean.
Chantel and Rob, thank you so much for your time. All the best with the book and, you know, great success. And it is caring what you're doing, like sharing all these tips. It's really helpful. Like, I really, really mean that. It's a beautiful thing that you're offering, and you've got Rob there being his loyal self, you know, supporting you. So thanks so much for coming in, you two.
No problem.
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys. Well, we're sorted, I think, honey. We've we're now be on top of our stains. Olive
exactly.
oil,
Olive oil,
coffee,
red wine. We know. Plus, she's got all the stuff on her Instagram and her soon-to-be released book on a whole bunch of other stains. Like I honestly spent hours on her Instagram reading the tips. They were absolutely fascinating. Like, how's this one? You store sour cream upside down to prevent bacteria growth and keep it fresh.
Yeah.
That's like simple.
And same with the tomatoes. Store them upside down to keep them fresh.
Yep.
Yeah. It's all good. The book, Chantel's book, is called The Dream Clean, and you can find her online at Mama Mila Home. What a really great chat. Rob's a ripper too.
Yeah, he's definitely a phenomenal support and clearly a very good cook.
Yeah, maybe the cookbook's next.
Yes, indeed. I'm sensing that.
It'll be super clean food.
Yes, super clean everything.
Hey, thanks for tuning in today to Separate Bathrooms. We will be back with another episode next week.
See ya.